Hello again, wonderful English students. My name is Mr. Mel. Welcome to our second lesson in a row. That's 2. I'm still stuck in this computer screen. No, seriously, I've got to get out of here. This computer screen is so small. Also, yes, I have blue fingernails. It's okay. It's 2020, and also my wife needed somebody to practice on. Anyway, yesterday you should have written a first draft of a persuasive letter that's geared either towards the Montagues, Romeo's parents, or the Capulets, who are Juliet's parents, trying to convince them to let these two lovebirds date without it blowing up into a full-on town massacre, right? Now, today, what we're going to do is you're going to be put into groups. I'm going to be sending out an email list for you to actually share your first drafts of your letters with other people, and other scholars are going to comment on your letters and give you a little bit of feedback on them. So let me go ahead and show you how to work the comment system on Google Docs and what I'm going to expect from your comments and feedback and revision strategy. So, shall we? Let's get into it. So, here is the persuasive letter that you started yesterday. In this space right here, I kind of did some pre-writing, some outline for my own letter. Hopefully, by this point, you will also have written in a full draft of a letter, because today you're going to be assigned a group of a bunch of different members of your own cohort, of your own college, to actually give some comments on each other's letters. So this document right here is going to be attached to the bottom of today's assignment. It shows everybody's peer revision groups, and it also gives you a list of emails that everyone has. So for example, if I were Rudy, I can see that I'm going to be paired up with Sam, Gabby, and Lissandro in my group. What I'm going to do is I'm going to email Gabby or Sam or Lissandro and ask if they can provide some feedback on my letter. Now, if you would like, you can ask other people to give you feedback as well, but you're going to be graded on whether or not you can reach out to your individual group members and get at least 2 pieces of positive feedback and 2 pieces of constructive feedback as well. Now, I approach peer revision a little differently. Your grade is going to depend on whether or not you're able to get other people to comment on your writing and give you feedback. The thought behind this is, as a writer, you should be actively engaged in getting other people to read your work and give you feedback. So, for example, even if you do a good job giving a bunch of other people feedback, that's awesome. I'm not saying it's not awesome, but your grade is going to depend on whether or not you were able to get other people to give your writing feedback. So keep that in mind. Now, how do you actually give feedback to each other, though? Well, what I might do, once again, if I were Rudy, I would go over to my document that I have on my Google Drive, the Writing a Persuasive Letter assignment, and I would go up here to the upper right corner and click Share. At this point, I'm going to go back and I'm going to copy in Gabby's, Sam's, and Lissandro's emails, and I'm going to add them here. Once I have everybody's emails written in here, I'm going to send it to them. Personally, I recommend that you change it from edit to comment so that your partners can't actually go in and change your document without you knowing. So it's really important that you change this setting to comment just so people can give you comments, but they can't go in and mess with things, okay? You're going to click send, and then other people are going to be able to take a look at your document. So when you are providing feedback to somebody, a couple of points that I want to impress upon you is I don't want to see comments saying, "Good job." I mean, as nice as that is in a sort of emotional, oh yeah, I did a good job, that's nice. That's helpful in an emotional sense. That's not exactly helpful in a writing sense, though. If you feel like somebody did a good job, you should try and be a little bit more specific in the feedback that you're giving them. So instead of saying, "Good job," try and figure out what is it about their writing that you feel was good. Maybe they had really clear professional punctuation and grammar. You can write that in. Maybe they have a bunch of different varieties of sentences. They use some short sentences, then long sentences, complex, simple sentences to make it more interesting. Or maybe their argument itself that they use is really convincing to you. So see if you can give specific examples as to why their writing is good. You're going to be giving at least 2 positive comments on your other group members' writing. Now, constructive comments, on the other hand, are comments that seek to help somebody do a little bit better. So, for example, if you're reading through their letter and a section is confusing to you or you don't quite understand it, you can comment saying, "This section confused me. Could you rewrite it to make it clearer?" Or you can say, "You don't use a lot of punctuation here, and I kind of get lost in your writing." Something like that. If they didn't include any examples or moments from the play, then go ahead and let them know. So the way you would add a comment is you would click and highlight a certain section of the letter. I recommend you don't highlight the entire thing. That's just annoying. Try and zero in on a specific moment. You're going to click, you're going to highlight. This little bubble should pop up next to the writing, and you can click add a comment. From here, you can write, "I really enjoy how well you appeal to the family's values. This will help connect you to your audience." See how specific I was with that? Isn't that nice? Now, if this bubble doesn't pop up next to you, next to your cursor when you're done highlighting, there is something else you can do. If you go in, if you highlight, let's say his punctuation wasn't super great here, you can go up to Insert, and you can go down to Comment right here. So once again, that's highlight a section, go up to Insert, and go down to Comment. Or you can do Control-Alt-M if you're a super fancy computer whiz or whatever. Once again, comment. You don't use very much punctuation here, and your thoughts all run together. It's confusing for me to read. Okay? Now, once again, you're not going to write things like, "Also, I hate you and you're a terrible person and writer." No, just keep it nice and neutral, okay? If their punctuation is confusing, then say, "Hey, your punctuation is kind of confusing here." If they don't, add an example, right? "Hey, you should probably add an example if you want to make your writing a little bit more professional or convincing." No need to go into figures, though, that you wouldn't add a comment because you're not. No, if I see any of that, I'm going to be calling your parents not cool. Not that I think anybody's going to be doing that. I sure hope not. Anyway, so once you're done adding those comments, you're going to go back to your own paper. You're going to see what comments people have made on yours, and you're going to copy and paste your letter in the final draft section, and you're going to start editing it as well. I don't want you to go in and edit your drafting and revising space. I want you to copy this down and edit it down here, so that way I can see that you started with a rough draft and then you revised it and you ended with a final draft and you made some changes. Now, if you are unsure of what kind of comments or feedback you can give to your friend's writing, I have an expository rubric here that you can use. How is their organization, development of ideas, use of language. In addition to that, when somebody gives you a comment or a piece of feedback on your writing, guess what? You are the author. So that means that you don't have to take your advice if you don't want to. That being said, if they are noticing something in your writing, it might be a good idea to listen to them, because when we as writers read our own writing, we already know exactly what we want to talk about, but other readers might not get it so clearly. It's our job to make our writing as clear as possible. So your deadline for submitting comments on each other's writing, on each other's letters, is going to be no later than 5 p.m. What time? 5 p.m. What time? 5 p.m. And the reason behind that is because since this final draft is due tonight at 9 o'clock, you want to make sure that you're giving comments on each other's papers with enough time so that people can go back in and actually revise their writing. So I will be on my phone from 8 to 4:30 today. If you have any questions, I'll be on my email as well. Just in case you didn't notice, I generally will not be checking my email or phone after 4:30, so it's in your best interest to try and contact me earlier rather than later. That being said, I also do tend to wake up at like 6 a.m., so if you want to try to wake up early and catch me then, you can as well. Anyway, best of luck to you. Let me know if you have any questions, and yeah, get commenting, get reading.